Hey YouTubers, Grimmy here with a bit of a double review, and today we're taking a look at Transformers timelines, Transmutate and Rampage. The first figures of the TFCC year is finally here. Our freebie figure, Rampage, and the paid for figure, Transmutate. Now, these guys arrived just before the subscription figures started arriving, so I'm going to take a look at these first. And since the packaging kind of has spots for both of them, I'm going to review them together. And since this packaging is actually pretty special, we're going to take a look at that first. Now, this is the packaging that comes with Transmutate. Rampage just comes in a mailer box, that's it. But this packaging is perfect for both of them. As you can see, the box is actually a really nice thick cardboard, designed to really be a collector-friendly item. It's got this nice thick feel to it. Interesting, like a almost leathery back, and it's designed to just pop out, but it doesn't come out very easily. But as you can see, inside there's a foam insert where you can, and a spot for both of their bio cards, which have really nice artwork on them. It's always something I like about the bio cards. But here you have the spot for Transmutate, where she just slides right in. And then, if you want to put Rampage in the set, you just take out this little foam thing, and then you have an insert ready for Rampage's robot mode, which is nice. I love the fact that you got a box for two of them. They did this for the Battle Chargers, and it was an awesome box as well. I'm glad they're doing it again. Hopefully they'll keep doing that. It's something I look forward to. But yeah, enough with the packaging. Let's get to the robots themselves. And since this is Transmutate's packaging, I'm going to start with her first. And, quick history lesson for those who weren't actually watching Beast Wars. Transmutate was originally a one-off character on season 2 of the Beast Wars animated series, in the episode titled Transmutate, and is actually like a damaged protoform who Rampage actually got to like, and so did Silverbolt, and they ended up fighting over her, and in the end killing her while fighting over her, which really was a bit of a poor ending. But it's one of those sad things. But I guess FunPub took an interest in her and decided to use her in one of their alternate realities, and gave her first edition RC body, which actually looks pretty good on her. I like the bronze-ish colors with the teal. And all in all, it's colored very well. It's got an interesting, somewhat garish color scheme to it. That, wouldn't be the first time a Transformer had a very garish color scheme. But what really interests me is the, like the sparkling silver that they use for some of the smaller parts. I'll get the blade off. And these, just like first edition RC, you got two blades that can peg onto the side of the bike with these two pegs. As you can see, hiding under those blades is some nicely painted details, with a really sparkly silver paint. I mean, you could see the metal flecks in there. That thing is nice and sparkling. I can't tell if the ones on the bottom of the bike are gold or silver. They might be a silver and the bronze is making them look a little more gold. Hard to tell for certain. But they really do look good. And that silver on the tailpipe and in the wheel well is really nice. They went all out to make this look really good. And the front wheel has it too. As you can see, a nice translucent red for the windshield and headlight. Although they didn't miss a spot on paint. You can see the top has that little bronze paint app on it, but there's not on the bottom. But at least they got the bronze paint on the like the tire cover, which is good. Wish they got some more bronze on the teal in the back though. Kind of makes it look empty, but all in all, they did a really good job. And as you can see, some nice Maximal symbols tampoed on. And yeah, it looks really good. I like it. I've always been a fan of the RC molds from Prime. I like PRAD best, but first edition was still really good. Let me get that blade back on. And as you can see, it's a nice sized bike. If you have a 3 3/4 inch figure, you can actually put it on there and have said figure ride it. Always a plus in that feature. But I guess we should get some comparison shots in. Now, I do have the 10th anniversary Transmutate, but it's in storage, and it couldn't stand to save its life, so I'm not going to be able to bring it out, sorry. But I will do some comparisons with the other first edition RC figures I have, like the New York Comic Con exclusive G1 Colors RC, and your standard first edition RC. As you can see, Transmutate really does stand out between them. I mean, each one looks completely different from the others, but yeah, Transmutate's the most stand out of the bunch. And I really do like it. Like I said, I'm a big fan of this mold, and I'm glad they used it. I'm really glad they used it, and I think Transmutate was a good choice for it too. But anyway, I guess it's time we got to the other guy before we get to robot modes. So let's take a look at Rampage real quick. And now that we got Transmutate in her robot mode, she is quite gorgeous. I'm pretty much happy to have her in this form. And, you know, I've been a fan of Prime RC's character model, the both figures, both the first edition and the PRID, because they're both really good in their own respects, and Transmutate here fits the mold quite well. It's a very lovely color scheme. I'm sure someone's not going to like it, but I do. I like the bronze and light teal. It really blends well, and it goes well with this figure. All the colors are placed nicely. You got the shoulder pads, the teal arms, the chest, and a lot of the torso are a nice bit of that bronze color, while they got a good amount to the teal as well. And it meshes together pretty nicely. paint apps are done very cleanly. Nothing I can really complain about in that respect. And the face is actually painted pretty well as well. Let me just... Sorry about that, someone fell over off camera. As you can see, she's got a nice framed of that really sparkly silver or gold. It's kind of hard to tell with all the bronze, but it looks more of a silver. And she has the black outlines around her eyes, which is pretty indicative of the Beast Wars Transmutate, as are the red eyes. Now, I kind of wish they did a little paint on the mouth to bring it out a little more, because you can barely see it on camera, which is a shame. I guess a little lipstick would have done this figure some good. But aside from that, it still looks very nice. As you can see, the paint job is actually done very well from head to toe. So you got a real nice setup. Now for articulation, she has a ball jointed head that can go up and down, left and right, all around. Ball jointed shoulders, a little bit hindered by the shoulder armor, but still got a nice range. Bicep swivel. Double jointed elbows, always a plus, and hinge on the wrist to make them go back and forth. That's about all the weak point I could even find on the articulation anyway. She has a bit of a waist joint thanks to her transformation. Ball jointed hips, thigh swivel, nice bend at the knees, and no ankles. But yes, you can get a nice variety of poses with her. If I can get her to balance, that is. Yeah. I mean, for posing options, Transmutate has plenty of them. This is real nice. And for weapons, she has these arm-mounted blades. As you can see, it's just pegs onto her forearm. And when you want to store them in, like when she's not fighting, you can actually place them on her thighs. Just like the first edition RC mold, first edition RC at least. Which makes sense, of course. Now for some quick comparisons. We have the New York Comic Con first edition RC and the more standard release first edition RC. Now my standard RC is a little bit customized on the forearms and hands, but you know, you get the point. Transmutate does look totally different from the other two, and does enough to actually bring out her own character. Now, an obvious gripe might be that in robot mode, the maximal symbols are kind of upside down. That's just because they were more focusing on how they look in vehicle mode. And it's even shown like that on the comics that Transmutate shows in, which is a nice thing. I mean, I really like the fact that FunPub went out of their way to make sure that they drew this exact mold instead of going with RC's character model. because that really makes this feel like this was meant to be Transmutate, or at least they chose this mold and they are actually sticking with it. But we do have the other guy, so let's get to Rampage and see how he's looking. Now on the other side of it, we have Rampage here, who, as you can see, uses the body of first edition Megatron. And it wasn't a bad choice, really. I mean, this mold does look pretty good, and it's a nice fit for Rampage. It's a menacing vehicle, looks very scary, and the color scheme actually works pretty well for it. You got nice reds and oranges here with some bits of purple, yellow, and silver. And a black cannon. Still, it's a nice cannon, it's a nice touch. And much like Megatron, you can see his head peeking out of the vehicle mode. And you can see that it actually just barely fits through, which is something you might want to keep note of when I explain one of the issues a lot of people have with this particular figure. As you can see, the color scheme works really nice for it. It has a real nice Rampage feel. And I like the look. Now for comparisons, let's start off with the very figure that he was repainted from, first edition Megatron. As you can see, there are a lot of differences between the two characters. That color scheme difference is very easily noticed, Megatron being more of a gray and purple guy, while Rampage has that more fiery red and orange look that is pretty classic with Rampage. And I do like Rampage's look for this mold. It really does help. I mean, honestly, I would have preferred if he used the Voyager Sharkcom Megatron, but, you know, yeah, they had to make it a deluxe to make it a free figure. I'm cool with that. I'm glad that we got him. Now, there is a good reason to have him as a deluxe as well, and that concerns last year's freebie figure, which happens to be Rampage's arch nemesis, Depth Charge, who is also the deluxe class. So it's nice to have these two together, given that they do spend most of Beast Wars when they're on trying to kill each other. You know, they had a few wars in Beast Wars, and it was always pretty good. So I'm glad to actually have the two together now. But I guess it's time that we got to robot modes with these figures. And yeah, so let's get to it. Now, the first thing that people are going to notice about Rampage in his robot mode is that he's got a bit of a tiny head. As you can see, it's a lot smaller than the rest of his body, but it does look really good. I mean, that is clearly Rampage. No doubt about it. And I do like how they got the X symbol where the faction logo normally goes, being that he is Protoform X, one of the more feared science failures of the Maximals. Yep, and he's a really nicely painted figure too. I mean, those oranges and reds go so well together, as do the purples, and I love that gradient effect on the legs. I mean, you can see the panel lining, but the gradient really just goes right through it without a problem, which is great. I love that about this guy. Now for articulation, Rampage does have a left and right swivel on the head. It's on a ball joint, so you do got some rock left and right, but nothing really forward and back. Just the way it's molded, I guess. You got forward, backward, ball jointed shoulders, swivels at the bicep, bit of a double jointed elbow, which is nice, and he has a wrist swivel. No waist joint, unfortunate, but that's just the way the mold is. But you got ball jointed hips, thigh swivel, bit of a knee bend, and toes. So he does have quite a range of motion to him. The transformation is simple. It's just first edition Megatron. Not a whole lot to it, and it actually is very clean. As you can see, there's not a whole lot of kibble from head to toe, just this little bit here. And the reason Rampage's head is so thin, it's because of this hole that its head has to fit through. This size is the only way that it actually fit, but still looks really good. Kind of makes him just look like he has this massive body. It's ready to hurt you real bad. Like he's got a hulking body and a normal sized head. That's the way I like to think about it. But if you get Rampage, odds are you got last year's freebie figure, who was his arch nemesis, Depth Charge. And just having these two together is a treat. And if you watched season 3 of Beast Wars, you know how much these two hate each other. And having them together to do battle on your toy shelf is always a treat. And both of them look real good as before they got their beast modes. And I like it. I really do like it. I really do like these two. And of course, since this is pretty much the set piece that he's supposed to pretty much be joined with, we gotta get Transmutate back in here. As you can see, get this guy out of the way real quick. They do look nice as a set. I mean, they're not technically a set. Just Transmutate's box is ready to house Rampage, since he's the freebie figure. But they do look nice as a set, and since there's comic story arc for the club actually has them together, I think it's very fitting. And I almost forgot to mention Rampage's weapon, the fusion cannon, which you can take off. There's a handle that flips out. You can also flip it back in and put it on his arm, just like Megatron's. I just prefer to have it in hand because this is not Megatron. And the handheld weapon fits him better. Speaking of Megatron though, I think it's time for one last comparison. And that is with first edition Megatron. As you can see, there is a tremendous difference in the paint jobs. Get his spikes out a bit more. But Rampage actually does correct something that can be viewed as a flaw on first edition Megatron, being the way these gray panels are showing more obviously on Megatron's legs. Rampage actually has them to be painted just like the rest of the leg, so it blends in perfectly. Megatron's, it sticks out like a sore thumb. But still, it is a really nice body for Rampage. I mean, it works for either Megatron or Rampage, really. So I'm glad that they picked that body for good old Rampage. Anyway, I do hope you have enjoyed this little review of these two wonderful figures. Come on, stand up for me. Yeah, her legs are a bit loose, just so you be on the lookout. And I almost forgot. There is one thing you need to look out for on Transmutate. I've heard about this happening on the Twincast podcast, and I've checked into it myself. But her thighs actually have rusty screws in them. So you might want to keep an eye out on that. Doesn't look like it's going to be a major hindrance to the toy. But if that kind of thing bothers you, just note that it's there, okay? It's a possibility if you buy it that you'll find it like that. Now, I'm not sure exactly how much availability Transmutate has right now, but you can only get her at the Transformers Collector Club site, which is what's that site name? Yeah, it's transformersclub.com. But yeah, that's the only place you can get Transmutate. She's about $60 if you're a member, plus shipping. You can, if you're not, you're gonna have to add another $40 to that. Still, it's a worthwhile figure to have. Rampage was only available if you had the club purchased before March 16th of this year. So if you didn't get them, you're going to have to look through eBay for them and pay whatever price they want. Anyway, I do hope you guys have enjoyed this review. Thanks for watching. And take care, have fun, and I'll see you next time.